It is that time. It is 1,000 times that time. Thank you to all of our 1,000 subscribers, hidden and not hidden, for joining us on this episode, second episode of 1000 Times Resist, and gaming is in session. If you recall, last episode, I deemed that this game was acceptable enough to finish. Adam didn't deem it acceptable enough to finish, but it doesn't matter. He has to finish it. So here we are. We have finished 1000 Times Resist by Sunset Traveler, and Adam and I are going to go through the rest of the game and give our final thoughts on the game. And I'm really excited to see what new information Adam has learned between last episode and this episode. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
Dude, I'm doing well. I'm actually really happy we are doing this, as again, it's the most unoffensive game you've had me play thus far. Also, I still believe women should be celebrated. And because of that, I'm going to come in hard and heavy. Alex, why can't women park?
Why? Why not?
Because their entire lives they've been lied to about how big 8 inches is. Boom! Men suck, women rock. You don't even get it. Quit
I,
laughing.
I'm assuming it's a wiener joke.
Duh. Yeah. Right? Like imagine, oh, you're the worst. Imagine if someone is saying, hey, this is 8 inches, but really it's like 3 or 4. It's going to throw off your whole equilibrium. So when you go to park, you're going to be like, the manual says you need to be 24 inches away. So you're going to think you need a mile to park. F you
Adam,
out.
just like you personally, how many inches is 8 inches actually?
About this size?
Toxic waste. Didn't you do that before?
No,
Maybe no, you had the toxic waste glass, right?
yeah, right here.
All right, we're getting into the gamer juice for the listeners here. Adam's got a toxic waste can.
That's right. So this is, I'm going crazy. It's an energy drink. Normally I don't do this, right?
Ooh, up all
Coffee
night.
base, sociable sour apple. I don't know why it has to be sociable. This is very interesting though because it's get buff, 0 calories. There's no sugar in it. I feel like I don't know, but I wanted something sour, and wow,
Can you look at see much how much caffeine is in that, Adam? Because it's not early. It's pretty late, and you're about to drink that much energy drink. You're gonna be up all night, buddy.
dude, caffeine doesn't affect me. Dead serious. I've never had a coffee, anything that's affected me. Let me look.
I don't know if you've ever had as much caffeine as this toxic waste is about to dump on you
160 milligrams.
per serving.
And it's one serving, yes.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad. It's like 2 cups of coffee. Okay. Sometimes they throw like 300 milligrams in there, and you're gone. You're
Oh,
gone.
I'm telling you, I've never been affected by coffee. Let me take a sip.
Looks like toxic waste. I'm not disappointed. I was gonna be upset if it wasn't green coming out.
Yeah, so it's very green apple. It's not sour whatsoever. You can
Mm.
also tell that there's no sugar in it. Um,
Let's get that like fake sugar aftertaste.
yeah, it's not bad, but it's not what I wanted something sour. I wanted to be like, ooh, but whatever. It's not bad. What do you have?
I have a big juicy beer hug. It sounded like it's going to be fruity because it's chocolate full of sunshine and tropical sweetness, but I think it's just a beer. But I don't know, man. I couldn't figure out what it was going to be, so I got it, and let's find out.
There's only one way to find out, my friend. Only
It's
one
probably
way
going to be like a blue
to
moon type thing, right? Where it's like a hint of orange, but it mostly just tastes like a shoe.
find out. Let's see. The verdict?
Hey, that okay. It's like it is like Blue Moon or something, but a bit fruitier. A bit fruit. I don't
Oh,
know. It's
oh.
not great, but it tastes like beer. It tastes like beer. That's what
Is
it.
it strong?
I mean, it's like 10% alcohol per volume, so that's pretty strong for a beer.
I
But
mean,
like
is the
the
taste
flavor,
strong? Not so much the alcohol.
no, the taste isn't strong. It's an India Pale Ale apparently, which means it's that kind of beer. I don't know. Do you know what an IPA is, Adam? You ever had an IPA?
I mean, I've heard it, but I hate alcohol. I just hate alcohol in general. I'm not morally against it. It just all tastes bad, so I don't drink it. So no, I
I
don't.
will say I'm never gonna buy this again. Unfortunately, I bought two of them because it was
Oh,
like on sale.
well, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you a little friendly advice here, Alex. At the break, you might want to go get something a little stronger because you're about ready to eat some beans tonight, my friend. We've got quizzes and segment two, and beans are going to be dealt out. But before we do that, I I want to hop. Let's just go into the plot and break it up. We'll give our thoughts in each piece, and let's see how far we get.
Yeah, so I tried to. So this game doesn't have a lot of coverage. I mean, for all the accolades it won and nominations it got, there's not a lot going on like a lot of discussion online about the game. So it's hard to find a good plot synopsis. So I got one from
Yeah.
Wikipedia and I broke it apart. I will say this: if you're at all interested in this game,
Yeah.
do not, sorry, you're gonna have to bounce out of here. Listen to the first episode to get an introduction. Play the game. It's $20, and then come back and listen to this episode if you're more interested. We're gonna be spoiling things here. Otherwise, just jump to segment two about 40 minutes from now.
I'm gonna
And
ruin the whole thing.
I mean, we're gonna ruin the whole thing here. Yeah. So just letting you know, it's a plot. The plot is the entire game, and we're gonna be talking about the plot here. Okay, Adam, diving into this, where did we last leave off? We left off on chapter three. Do you remember how chapter three ended?
Well, I ended in chapter four, and you didn't get as far as me, so I don't remember chapter three. No.
So I think chapter three ended. I don't know. You're going through talking to all the sisters, doing your communions and stuff, and you find out. I think chapter three is the one where you find out that Iris killed all the people that were watching her. Right?
Okay.
You're running around as Knower, or you're doing a communion with Knower. You're running through the history of Iris, where you're finding out that she's being cloned, and she's learning how to clone herself, and she gets upset. There's like a blocked memory, and she kills everybody watching over her and starts cloning herself. Um, I think chapter four is kind of the culmination of that, right? Noah is the last person you have the communion with, and you've come to realize, okay, Iris is not a good person, and the Watcher hops on the train when she's not supposed to, rides a train to go meet Allmother when she's not supposed to, and then it replays the scene at the beginning of the game where she runs up behind Iris, who's just doing some prayer to the occupants, and she stabs Iris in the back. Oh, I skipped over something important. She finds out that that little secretary guy floating around her is actually from the occupants. So he's one of the occupants. He was granted by the occupants. She gets mad and she like grabs him and breaks him apart. And there's a he
Is
breaks
that
apart.
not
It's like a
later in the game?
no, because she kills Iris with the shard of glass that she breaks off from secretary. So she
Uh,
runs up to Iris and stabs Iris in the back.
that maybe that was that wasn't chapter three. That was four.
Maybe that was four. Then I forget. I
Because
mean,
that's why I was like, dang it, man, you only got through three. Chapter four, in my opinion, was the best chapter. A couple
well, we
things
can.
to, couple things to highlight there for me. Number one, I the more I sat in it, the more I liked the concept that Iris was potentially the savior of the universe. She chose not to do that. She became lonely. She cloned herself and kind of created this whole ecosystem off herself. I That's a pretty interesting concept. Kind of like that. What we talked about, what you just did about, the secretary and her stabbing, I liked that the stabbing was the very first scene of the whole game, but obviously you didn't know, right? You had no
Yeah.
background, no context, you had no idea anything. So this isn't the only game by far that makes the first scene do a full circle moment somewhere else within the game. I mean, I like that. I was a little surprised, honestly, it happened that soon.
Mhm.
So I knew it was going to happen just when you see a game start like that. Did you assume when you saw that first scene in the game that we were going to come back to that moment, right?
Yeah. I knew we'd come back to it. Like you, I didn't know we'd come back to it that quickly, right? It seemed like it would
Yeah.
be a more pivotal scene. I mean, it's a pivotal scene. It seemed like it'd be the climax of the game or something like after all the time you play, you're like, oh, that's why that happened. But yeah, we get to this scene because through her communion with Noah, Watcher discovers that Iris is actually in cahoots, right? The All-Mother is in cahoots with the occupants. She welcomed the occupants. She's been coordinating with the occupants, and the occupants are this boogeyman that's been keeping everybody down. And so that's why she's so distraught. That's why she broke Secretary apart into pieces, and that's why she went to kill the All-Mother because, um, yeah, All-Mother was keeping everybody down, was keeping everybody hurt. I think in the chapter with Noah, you also find out that yeah, that's the other important thing. You find out that Iris made like five clones of herself initially and gave them the Knower, the Watcher, the Bang Bang Fire, and stuff like that. And you play through that scene in the view of the first Watcher, who they call the youngest. And that first Watcher, all of the other sisters don't like her. Very much like they didn't like Zhao. They don't like her because all she does is watch. That's her job, and she just watches them, and they get annoyed. Um, and so when they're playing hide and seek, they're hiding from her, making it hard to find, and she gets lonely. And then she finds a piece of hair from Zhao's diary, and she clones Zhao as a gift for the All-Mother. Um, but when she clones Zhao and presents it to the All-Mother, or presents it to Iris, Iris gets pissed off, kills all the sisters um, except for Watcher, and says, "This is what this is what you want to know. What I have to deal with now. You know you're lonely, and I'm going to leave you, and you're stuck here by yourself without anybody." Um, and she also said she took away your immunity so that now the occupants can kill you. You can die from the occupants. And so that's the point that the Watcher you're playing as determines, yeah, All Mother's bad. She's got to die, and we're gonna go kill her. Um, any what's the look on your face, Adam?
I drank that whole thing. It's gone.
Really? You must have liked
Yeah.
it. Mine's gonna be here for a while because I don't like the taste of it.
I was
Um,
thirsty. Yeah, no, I think I was still, I mean, at this point, I was tracking one thing I think they do well is they take what potentially could be a confusing plot and they arrange it in such a way that you can follow it, fully understand it. And that is, I think it's nice. Sometimes I do like some mystery, like not fully understanding because it's complex, but I will agree there is sometimes a difference between a complex plot that's just mentally hard to follow and comprehend or bad storytelling, right? And I feel like they have good storytelling and I'm following everything. It makes sense. It's interesting. Even to today, I don't fully understand the whole Zhao thing, I guess, like why she is such a pivotal part but we'll get into it later. So, yeah,
yeah. So when Iris kills All Mother and you play out what happens after that scene, suddenly Principal appears. That red woman who tasked you with doing the communion. She appears and she calls in her army and they're trying to catch you for killing All Mother. And you suddenly have the ability to jump and warp away, kind of like you do when you're in communion and you're warping away. And then the game has a big time jump. It transitions, and you're no longer playing as Watcher. You're playing as a shell. So a shell or one of the clones that doesn't have a specific job. It's like just a normal citizen. And from that point onward in the game, you're not playing Watcher anymore. You're playing shell. A shell. She's a shell number 48. She apparently all the shells at some point pick a name, and she refuses to because she doesn't really have a reason to. And you're in a city. It looks like a recreation of like some Asian city in Hong Kong or something like that. And you're walking around the city. There's an oppressive government now. There's a bunch of red soldiers walking around with guns, kind of being bullies to you. You apparently have a job where you get supplies and give them to bartender, who apparently is the same bartender that you were friendly with in as Watcher early on in the game. And then you're collecting supplies for bartender. Bartender's making some special drink. There's kind of some secret thing going on. You see that, in the city, everybody kind of views Watcher as a traitor. So having killed All Mother, everybody kind of hates her. But there's like a new regime, right? There's a new control. And all you want to do is go up the stairs and go to the orchard where Watcher was running around. So this is apparently like a substation down below. Um, but after you get all the ingredients and give it to bartender, a scene plays out where bartender is in an alleyway and she gets shot down by one of the soldiers, and that kind of triggers your character 48 to do something pretty bad. And she infiltrates. She gets to go. She takes on the new role of bartender, which means she gets to go up to the orchard. You find kind of this plot that's developing where they're going to set off a bomb and they're going to blow up and kill all the sisters all the primary sisters and then take over society without having the well, who are the ones still around? Knower. There's still Knower and there's Principal. Um, without having Knower and Principal running this like totalitarian regime. Adam, how did you feel when suddenly you wake up and you're a totally different character? Was that like that was confusing for me? I thought for a bit I was Watcher, but they seem to make it clear that no, you're not Watcher, you're a shell. What did you think about this part of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't love it, but mainly just because in the very beginning of the game, I'm starting as a whole new character. I have no motivation. I have no real reason to care about this character. So you have to build that, like the developers have to allow the player to build that relationship to care again. And to be honest, like this is the part of the game where I started to like start to check out a little bit. I was like, okay, not having any combat whatsoever, I started to not care, which is a dangerous spot for a game that's very involved about the plot. I don't care that did Noah die? Is she old? Is she alive? What happened? Don't care. What happened to Principal? Don't care. Who is Blue? This new shell you're playing as? Don't care. Like I just didn't care. Uh,
How did you feel about the red art, like the red soldiers suddenly everywhere?
didn't care. I mean, I
Did
was like, I
did you like
didn't.
not talk to him?
I mean, yeah, I did. I explored enough, but I there wasn't anything specifically that I thought was that stood out. I was just like, okay, we're in a different time. I'm this new person. They're yeah, like you said, the new regime. They're bullies.
See,
I
this that's what motivated me in this is I was this character who's very much like Watcher, it seemed like. She eventually comes and declares her color blue, but she's still just a bartender. She's not an anointed, sister or anything like that. But yeah, walking around and you have all these red dudes and they're just total a-holes, right? And so once I clocked that, like, oh, we're gonna be taking this thing down, I was all aboard. I was like, yeah, these guys are a bunch of bitches. I'm gonna figure out a way to blow up their face. Um, when you do get up to the top floor in the orchard, you discover, you mentioned earlier, that there's a bunch of Zhaos now. There's a lot of Zhaos. Uh, Previously, when you were playing, there were no Zhaos. Now there's a bunch of Zhao clones, and they kind of act as like slaves, it seems like. Apparently, they live where the All-Mother used to live, and then they come back to the orchard to kind of help everybody out and stuff like that. So that was kind of a neat, now we're seeing that, okay, obviously Iris isn't in charge, Principal's in charge, and Principal is red, and there's all these red soldiers around. And nobody else is around. You get hints talking to people that like Bang Bang Fire's still alive, but it's kind of like a hush hush thing. It's like, yeah, she's still around, but nobody knows where she is, and they just know that if you're on the train tracks, Bang Bang Fire has been shooting at people and killing people, and then nobody can catch her. And so yeah, obviously there's still some leftover pieces from prior to All Mother's death. But now, yeah, you go up, you get the ingredients, you put together. They're putting on a play that recreates the scene when Iris died. And so you're putting everything together, and there's a cake that you're putting down in front of all the primary sisters that's going to blow up and kill them. But you have to watch the play because everybody's gathering around the play. That's how you're going to try to kill everybody. You have to watch the play. But when you watch the play, you watch Principal and she's holding an actress who's pretending to be All Mother, but Principal's feeding her lines. And did you catch what was happening when Principal was feeding her lines?
I mean, I was waiting for the cake to explode, so
So you
I
didn't
don't
ask me to say
remember.
more? Yeah, you so when you're watching that scene, you have the option of, you can trigger the bomb whenever you want, but you keep having an option of like wait, wait, wait. And every time you wait, Principal delivers another line and the actress delivers another line. Um, if you wait, 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 you find out that Principal is actually youngest. She was the first watcher. She was the one who made the clones of Zhao. Um, and after All Mother died, or no, she was the one that made the first clones of Zhao. And so now the principal that has been making your Watcher run around was actually the original Watcher, and that's kind of an important part. She has this, more or less vendetta against Allmother for Allmother being so cruel, and she kind of set Watcher up. She orchestrated this event so that Watcher would go and kill Allmother. Also
Was
explains why
that
there's
was that described later? So I knew that. But I don't remember if that's when I learned it or if they shared that at another point in the story too.
They explain it later, but at that
Okay.
point, if you keep saying play, she's holding the actress that's pretending to be All Mother dying, and she says something along the lines of like, call me youngest, call me youngest, tell me everything's good, tell me you love me, tell me you're sorry for what you did to me, but call me youngest. And at that point, you realize Principal is the youngest and the first Watcher. Um, and then you blow everybody up, and you almost die, but you don't die. And instead, Secretary has appeared, and Secretary's like, "Follow me. You got to get going." Did you notice anything different about Secretary when he wakes you up?
Um, I feel like when it first happened, it's been, I mean, I say so long. I mean, it's been a little over a week since I actually played that part, right? Uh, I do remember me thinking there was something slightly different, but I can't picture what it was.
Well, I mean, he's missing a piece of him, right? He's got the four pieces floating around him. He's missing a piece because the first Watcher broke him into pieces. But the big thing, and it's not huge, but in that time between when you broke Secretary, and then Secretary comes and finds you again, his voice has gotten deeper. It
I
was a little
knew
kid.
that I thought it was something with the voice, but I couldn't remember how it was different.
Yeah, his voice got deeper. What actually happened, I heard from the developers, is they recorded all of Secretary's voice lines with that voice actor like 4 years ago. And then they let him age and let his voice get deeper, and all the later voices is that same voice actor literally like 4 years later. And so the time jump in the game matches the real time jump in real life. It doesn't really mean too much, but it's just a really cool element that it's the same voice actor in both. It's just that boy who did Secretary's voice is now older. The balls on these people to record the lines and then be like, now we're just going to sit and wait for you to get older. Then we're going
I
to record
can't
the
believe
rest of
this
the
game
lines.
took 4 years to make.
Games take a long time to make. I mean, COVID happened. I think that delayed a lot of stuff, but
Uh, okay, cool, fair enough. Nice tidbit. That's a
yeah,
good trivia.
yeah, pretty cool. Well, when Secretary wakes you up, he's like, "All right, we got to get out of here. Go, run on the train." And as you're running in the train, you start having memories kind of interweave, right? You're running to the train. You know, the Red Army's trying to shoot you down as you get to the train, but also it intersperses with memories of somebody running through Hong Kong with like the Hong Kong police beating you and stuff like that. And there's this like interwoven memory thing happening. But eventually you get on the train and you ride the train and you run into and rejoin your friends who are still alive. It's Fixer and it's Bang Bang Fire. And I forget the other ones that are Knower is with the bad guys. And yeah, so you're with Fixer and you're with Bang Bang Fire, and they're creating a plot to take out Principal and regain control of the orchard. Um, at this point, I'll admit, I started getting pretty confused. But like you said, it wasn't so confusing where I didn't know what was going on. But there's now we have a lot of characters at play. There's Principal, there's Zhao's, there's like this one person that's like one of the Red Army leaders, but she wears all white. They call her like Primary Red or something like that. Now you have Blue and Watcher, and they're kind of interwoven. So it was pretty confusing for me. Um, any big takeaways from that point, Adam?
No, I mean, this is where I really, same thing. Like the farther this went, the less I cared, if I'm just being honest. It wasn't necessarily a bad plot, but it wasn't enough to make me care, to want to struggle through understanding. I was like you, I could follow it, but did I understand all the little nuances? Did I care that Secretary's voice was a little deeper or that he had broken into pieces and one of the pieces was missing because it was used to stab Iris? Like, I didn't care enough to follow it that closely. I was like, okay, let's move it on. So, not what you want to hear, but that's really where I was at.
Okay. Um, and then when you meet up with your friends, you find out that they actually have Watcher, and so you do a communion with Watcher, and you get to see what Watcher's been doing after she killed Allmother. Turns out she got captured. She was tortured. She was held hostage by Knower. Knower would come in and torture her. You kind of having flashbacks of stuff, and Knower's trying to get her to admit that that Watcher killed Iris, not that Principal did it. And so that's where they kind of reveal that, like, oh, this is Principal's plot. Principal wanted to kill All Mother, and she had you do it. Um, But then you realize, okay, Watcher, through all this torture, she's about to die. But their goal is now is if they, because they know Watcher and they know how to commune with the occupants, if they can commune with the occupants, they can have the power to release the memories of everything that's happened to all the citizens of the orchard, so they know exactly what's going on, so they can take down principles, totalitarian government, and they can, give the power back to the people. And this is the goal that a lot of people in the orchard have too. So it's kind of a lot of people working together. Um, I think was it at this point or was it just before where you actually meet an occupant? You interact with an occupant, right? You go to
Yeah.
like this cave and you're interacting with the occupants and you find out that the occupants actually communicate through memories. So they don't believe in death. Everything is memories, and that's actually why they're communicating with you and why communion is so important because that's how the occupants communicate with everything. Um, and then at that point, you do this mass communion to talk to everybody. That's where you actually commune with an occupant. You actually talk with an occupant. You're going through all the memories. You find out that the occupants were this ancient alien race that were born out of nothingness. They were born between two binary stars where one was feeding off the other, and there was nothing going on for billions of years until they eventually saw that there was this great discord of memories happening on Earth and nowhere else in the universe. So they go there, and that's what prompted the invasion. That's what prompted all of the diseases that are happening on Earth was because these aliens came there. Only way they can communicate is through memories, and the communication with memories, the resonance of the memories, is what caused people to cry themselves to death, which is the disease that's killing everybody. Um, and so you talk to the occupants about everything happening. You find out that all the occupants left except for one, and you and secretary decide you're going to kill that occupant because if you kill that occupant, you now have the power to take over and get the totalitarian regime out of there. Were you able to follow that, Adam?
So in game, I was still struggling with. At this point, I really struggled with giving a crap. I was like, I still followed it, but the same issue happened where I don't care about these characters. At some point, like I cared about Watcher, but then once Watcher kind of bit the dust, or I wasn't playing as her, it wasn't centered around that character, I didn't care. So I was like, especially you added the document thing in there, and I was like, and Alex, this might be a good spot. I knew it. I knew that this part of the podcast is gonna be rough. It's nothing but you talking about plot. That's what the game
Yeah,
is. That's what it
yeah.
needed, right? But I think it's good to take just a break, take a quick pause, Take a pause. Because you want to lie? It's a Jim Girl update. Alex, are you ready? This is the perfect.
Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited. Let me get
Perfect.
situated.
Let's get the juices back going before you're in the home stretch of the plot here. Now, I want to set expectations, right? Small things, but I first of all, the YMCA has fallen. There's still tons of dudes, but apparently all the women quit their New Year's resolutions because there's not much local talent in the YMCA anymore. However, I unknowingly posted up by a room in the YMCA where you could rent stuff. Didn't know that. I was talking to a former colleague of mine who works at the YMCA. I say former because obviously I used to work at the YMCA as the janitor, right? And then I left, but they still work for the YMCA. So I was talking to them by this room. This chick walks by, gorgeous. She had to walk through our conversation to get to the room. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she walked through, and then I was like, "Well, what's this happening?" So I peek in there. I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" And then she's telling me about you can rent out resistance bands and jump ropes and ab machine stuff and the little chit chat. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then she left to do her workout. We kept talking. We talked long enough. She got done with her resistance band, brought it back. And here's the beauty, Alex. So she had to cross us again, but I said this little ditty to her. She got in and I was like, "Well, that'll be $5." Just a little fun. And then yeah, she laughed and she's like, "Oh, but I brought it back." And I'm like, "I don't care. You still rented it." So here's the thing, Alex. I liken myself to a worm, right? A worm a worm is you look at it on the sidewalk or the side of the road and you say you're gonna get burnt up by the sun. You're harmless, right? But if that worm were to find an orifice, he could do some real damage, right? And I'm not there yet. I haven't found my metaphorical orifice, but I've started my crawl. I'm squirming. So that's it, baby. You gotta lay down the first layer. Boom. I'm ready. I'm ready to squirm. So not the biggest update in the world, but I thought you might like that.
It's a Gym Girl update. I appreciate it. I have one question. How do you know she's not in high school?
That's the thing. I am certain she's not in high school. There's zero chance. I would say at least 30. She might, I don't know, man. She's not older than 40. There's no way. I would be
Okay. All
so.
right.
She's in really good shape. So I don't. Like when you're in really good shape, it's hard to tell
Yeah.
because you're just like,
So,
and she wears makeup and stuff. I can't tell. There's no way she is less than 30. I promise you that.
can I give you a tip that I didn't know until I got married?
Is it an 8-inch tip?
Yep, that's it. There you go. Can I give you my 8 inch? No. Look at her hands. Does she have a wedding ring on? Look at her left hand. See, I
Mm,
never thought I never thought to check and
no, I
see.
did. I did.
Okay.
Because I mean, I was just like, curious. No, she doesn't have
Okay.
one.
All right.
Wait,
You know,
so if the thing is, when women work out, do they keep their ring on? That's the real question.
that's a valid point, but I think at least when I used to wear a wedding ring, I got a tattoo now, but when I used to wear a wedding ring, I'd never take it off because it was just like I'd lose it. And ultimately, I had to get a tattoo because I lost my wedding ring the one time I took it off. So people typically wear it, but the thing is, it's you gotta check, right? You gotta check. So it sounds like for the next week, you need to just be hanging out at the rental thing for as long as you can, and
Yeah.
uh, and your next line's gonna be like, sorry, it's gonna be $5, but we have a discount if you give me your number. Boom, there you go.
Or
Or you can come at her with the worm line.
the worm, or I'll go up to her and be like, I don't really want this resistant band. Can I rent out you? Boom.
That's okay, Adam. You know what? Try that line. Let me see.
It's bold. It's bold. And then when she says, "Get away from me, creep," I move on to the next. No big deal.
You say, it's all right. I'm a worm anyway, and I'm going to worm my way over to somebody else. You missed out on the greatest worm you've ever seen.
That's right. It's 8 inches.
Close up your metaphorical orifices.
Trust me, 8 inches. Okay, let's. If we
Yeah,
can
well,
get through this plot, let's do it.
yeah, we'll finish. Adam, I appreciate that because, yeah, this is rough to get through, but we just want to cover those bases. I want to ask you about the stuff. So, yeah, ultimately, you meet with him. Now that you've communed with the observer, when Secretary killed the observer or the occupant, um, Secretary had the power of the occupant, so you've kind of become one. You were able to kill all the bad guys, and now you're left with this choice of like you now have all the power in this situation. Who do you want to save? And so you, as Blue, is placed in a space where you can decide what do you want to keep, what memories do you want to keep, and what people do you want to keep, and what memories do you want to discard, and what people do you want to discard. And we can talk later. This is effectively the ending of the game, and it's a
Mhm.
pivotal point in the game. Um, there were a couple of touching moments. There was a moment where Iris goes back to talk to her mom. She goes back. You find out that you have an interlude where you see Iris's dad laying in a beach chair in Hong Kong, talking about how great it is to be back. It's so nice here. Things are good. And then you find out Iris talking to her mom. Your dad killed himself. He jumped off the balcony and killed himself. Um, her mom apparently has just been hanging out. She was supposedly immune to the disease too. Um, and you just talk to your mom about, what are you supposed to do? Things are so bad. How do you keep going? You had a kid and things were awful. What did you do? And she was like, you just keep going. That's just what you do. You just keep going. And that's all there is. I thought it was kind of touching. I think that discussion was a bit metaphorical. I don't think Iris actually went back to talk to her mom. Pretty tragic and bleak. If Iris's mom is immune to the disease, everybody else in the world is dead, and her mom's just living in that apartment, slowly surviving and doing whatever she can to survive. But We all we also skipped a big point, Adam. There's a section where you're going through and you're trying to identify all of the humans that like soldiers that are kind of keeping things together that are
Mhm.
cloning Iris and stuff like that. There's a little hint that they're trying to clone Iris and they can't get it quite right, and one of the people are like, "Why don't we do it the old-fashioned way?" Hinting that they want to like just impregnate Iris like sexually. And fortunately, somebody's like, no, 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 we're not going to do that. But I think it subtly introduces that like Iris isn't she's not just a horrible person. Like she's being subjected to like some pretty severe abuse because she has this like clone potential. Um, and then you find out that like it's not that Iris killed everybody. It's that the humans themselves confined in that spaceship killed each other. They kind of went crazy and shot each other up, and they all died that way. So it's like humanity's kind of has no hope. No matter what happens, there's always somebody that tries to overpower somebody else, and it creates this horrible, destructive cycle. Um, but yeah, and then depending on the ending you choose, you get a different ending. We'll talk about the endings in the second segment. But any last thoughts before we go to segment two, Adam?
I think we'll cover it a little more next time. I think you did a really good job highlighting the main plot points. The and I'll cover. There are some things I did like about the plot in the game. There, for me, it just didn't leave much of a lasting impression. And again, I'll chat about it next segment. I'm I can't think of any other like major plot points or parts of the game that I thought were really neat. Personally, I thought chapter 4 was the best part of the game. I kind of like the portion where you were Watcher and you were tied up and you were being tortured. That I thought was kind of interesting and started to mess with your mind because obviously at that point you knew there were secondary motives, but I kind of had a feeling that Noah wasn't good. She was a backstabbing biddy, but what what was her what did she get? Like what was the other side, right? And
See,
so
she was like kind of a back, right? It was weird, right? Because there were times when you were talking to her, it was like, no, she's on your side. She's trying to help you, but she's making sure she's on top no matter what happens, right?
yeah, which that I liked. Made me think a little bit. So there's definitely some good things in here, and we'll cover a little bit more in a broad scope next segment. We're also
Scrote,
as we what?
scrote.
We'll come back next scrote. We'll cover all scrote and deal some beans. Talk about our next game. Are we glad we played this? Do we recommend you, the listeners, to play it? Heck, if you made it this far, we just ruined it all. So I don't know why. I mean, seeing it and hearing it is definitely completely different, right?
Yeah,
So
I jumped over a lot of stuff just to get to the end here, because we had to cover it so we could talk about it. I will say, like when you play through the game, you're really experiencing it. It's a lot different. So I don't think there's like the twists and the plot and stuff in the game is so pivotal. It's not like the Sixth Sense, right? Where like if you know what happens in the Sixth Sense, it
the
ruins a whole
end,
movie.
it was Bruce Willis the whole time.
It was Bruce Willis. It was Bruce Willis. What 1000 xRESIST? It was Bruce Willis the whole time.
I knew, I knew it.
All
I
right,
didn't know it. We're coming back for segment two. So don't go anywhere.
we'll see you after the break.
Don't do it. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you all. Welcome to segment two of Gaming is in Session, our second episode about 1000 times resist. Second and final. Thank you for enduring the plot summary. Now we can talk about our thoughts on the game. Also, thank you to Adam for the Gym Girl update. But Adam's got something he wants to drop on
Here's
us
the thing,
first.
thank you for listening. Thanks for all that. But I've got something else to tell you, Alex, and it's about a lot more than this plot, okay? So you go online to look for a restaurant to enjoy or take a nice girl out on a date, whatever, and all you see on the restaurant menus or Yelp is, hey, look how good this food looks. See how tasty this food is. Well, I have a question for you. How does the restaurant smell? Because here's the thing, Alex, I am so sick of these restaurants that stink so bad that when you walk out of them, it sticks on you like flies on crap. 2 weeks ago, went to a Chinese restaurant. Food was fantastic. I've got no issue with the food, but I walked out there, my jacket, my shirt, even my freaking shoes smelled like a garbage truck collided with a freaking Asian fish factory in the middle of August. Tonight, I go to a Mexican barbecue, all right? Sounds great. Food was fine. I walk out of there, my blazer is wrecked. It's gone. You know what? Is that restaurant gonna pay for that dry cleaning of my blazer? No. Can dry cleaning even get out smells? Probably not. Can I put the blazer in the washer? No. I am so sick of hearing about how the food tastes. I'm sick about hearing how the food looks like. All I want to know is, what does your restaurant smell like? I'm sick of it. That's it?
See, here's the thing. They say smell is tied, the sense that's tied closest to memory. I wonder if there's a way you can leverage a stinky restaurant to Gym Girl. Hey, come to this restaurant. And then she smells her clothes the next day. It's like, oh, Adam, I love him.
I'm so livid. I don't even not even think about Gym Girl. Why? Why are these places? It should be illegal to make a restaurant that is so pungent that sticks the clothes so that really everything's ruined. It smells and it doesn't smell good. Who wants to smell like you were at a Mexican barbecue? No one wants that.
That sounds good. If I'm hungry, that sounds great.
No, because it's not like, oh, those are queso covered enchiladas. It just smells like you were around a smelly Mexican back alley restaurant. Like it's not good. It is so infuriating. I'm gonna stop going to the cute bougie restaurants because they all make me smell. Take me to effing Burger King. You want to go on a date, Gym Girl? I'll take you to effing, well, White Castle smells too. I'll take you to Jersey Mike's, Subway. I'll take you to the back effing alley and make you a PB&J because I'm the woman of the relationship. I'm going to make you a sandwich.
Have you thought about, I mean, this could be your angle, Adam. This could be your launch to stardom. Start leaving reviews on Google of restaurants solely based on how they smell. How it smelled, while you were there, and how your clothes smelled afterwards.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good because I would care about, like, maybe I'm the only
Adam,
person who cares. I don't understand, but it's so infuriating. But I don't want to spend more time on this. We've got a lot to cover. I want you to eat some beans, baby. So
oh yeah, oh
we're
yeah.
gonna go. So we have a quiz. We have a quiz for each other, actually, because unlike Alex, I support women and I want to celebrate women. Well, not that Alex is against that, but he's not going out of his way to celebrate women like I am, and I want to do that. So I've got women-inspired questions. Alex has questions about 1000 times resist. So we'll go back and forth and asking each other questions, and then we're going to play by normal rules, normal quiz rules like we did last time. Do you want to go first, Alex, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because I think yours is going to be more entertaining. So we'll let yours go second.
Well, we're going to go back and forth, right? You ask a question, then I'll ask a question.
Oh, okay, all right.
But go ahead. Yeah, go. First question. Hit me.
Name two of the human soldiers, the 50, in charge of taking care of Iris.
You dirty mother effer. One's 50 the Johnson, obviously, the most important one.
50 the Johnson.
That was
Yep.
his name, right?
Johnson. Yeah, Johnson's one of them. Yeah.
Johnson. Yeah, I think he
Is
was named 50 the
No,
Johnson.
it's Johnson the 50, as in Johnson
Oh,
the 50, as
come
in Johnson the
on.
police officer.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you
No,
that's
I'm
okay.
giving that to you.
Yeah, yeah, you
Johnson.
gave it
That's
to
all I
me.
needed. Yeah.
Dude, he was the most important one. The other ones, I don't know. I'm trying to think. There was a moment where you were in that bunker or ship or whatever the heck it was, and you had to go and do all of
Yeah,
the.
you spent a lot of time with him.
I
Yeah.
did, but they were all like you talked to them once and then they like die. And there was the one guy who had the dude who was trying to undermine the stuff and killed everyone, but it was too long ago, dude. I don't remember. There was a woman, a lot of them were men. Um,
You saw the
what's
woman
the
a lot. I thought
what
for sure you'd get it.
um I was too busy celebrating the women, not learning their name. I'm sorry. Um, I did. I seriously. I'm sorry. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, you could.
What's a common name? Thomas
Nope, there wasn't a Thomas. There was a George,
doesn't ring
and
a bell.
there was a Mimi.
That kind of rings a bell, but I
Mimi is the other one. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
stupid.
So
Okay. Oh for one. Go
0 for
figure.
1. Yeah.
Go figure. Okay,
All
here you
right.
go.
Ask me a question, Adam.
Okay. Starting easy, okay? Every year we celebrate the women who grunt out fully formed fetuses from their vagina. When do we celebrate this day?
This is Mother's Day, right? That we celebrate it. It's like the first Sunday in May.
Okay, I want to be sure you weren't Googling. I don't think you
No.
did. I don't think you cheated. Um, okay, well, that your answer?
Yeah.
Second Sunday in May. Boom. Okay. Oh for 1 all. It's what do they call that? Freaking stupid French people in their tennis. Uh zero
Love.
love. Whatever. You know what I'm
Love
saying.
is 0. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, love. We're both at love. We're both loving. Hit me with number
Oh,
2.
name two of the non-colored shells. So the named shells.
You want their number or
They have
their
names. They have names, yeah.
the non-colored shells? Is
Yeah,
that what you
so
said?
Shell is one of the sisters that's not colored, yeah.
Oh
So
gosh,
blue
not
doesn't
colored.
count because she ultimately was colored.
That the non-colored ones.
You
Like,
ran into a bunch of them.
yeah, but you don't freaking remember their name. Like,
Two of them appeared at the end of the game.
well, first of all, butthole, most of them are color and like I can remember name like bartender, she was colored.
That counts as one. That counts as bartender as one.
Was she colored? She was
She
colored.
wasn't colored. She wasn't colored. Her
So
name was
when it said
bartender.
bartender, it was white. I thought it was blue.
No, she was bartender. She was not blue. You could tell by their clothes. Name one more.
Uh,
Bartender was the gimme. I'm surprised you got it.
the gimme. Yeah, yeah, that one was pretty easy. It's always the second one. I don't freaking what was there was a lady who was the one with the plants? F, it was like the freaking grandma. You went back there and she was dealing with the plants. I am not gonna remember her name. I mean, High Priestess.
That is nowhere. So that's an incorrect answer. Julia was the name you're looking for. Julia.
I don't even remember it, Julia.
Well,
Okay.
Julia was actually one of the shells that died, and they had a plant as like a recommendation. Doris, I think it might have been who you were looking for. You could honestly, Adam, you could have said any name other than High Priestess, and I probably would have been like, yeah, that's right. It was like Rosalina and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a bunch of names.
I don't know. Oh, they're
It
like
was so easy because any name could have done.
they're like dodeca
No, all of their
airy
names were normal.
characters. No, no, no. But they were like so insignificant to the grand story. Who effing cares about Rosalina? F you, Alex. I have houses, but no walls. I have railroads, but no trains. I have money, but I don't have a bank. Elizabeth Maggie named me. What am I?
Money, but no bank. Houses, but no what? Houses, but no what?
Walls.
And railroads, but no trains.
Yep.
Monopoly,
The big important thing is Elizabeth Maggie made me. But yes, Monopoly is correct.
which I think is odd because isn't that a train one of the things in Monopoly you can be? I guess not. No, it's like an iron and yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
come at me. My riddle was good. Okay. Well, go and ask your effing bullcrap question. I'm going 0 for 5. These are way too detailed.
Just so last quiz for listeners that maybe doesn't know, Adam thought that Hong Kong was part of Korea, so I decided to lean in on geography a bit just to educate him. Adam, what is the capital of China?
Dude, what this is such bullcrap.
Do you want multiple choice?
I think if you give me multiple choice, I think I would get it. How about
All right.
can this be the question instead? Is Ho Chi Minh City in China or anywhere else? That's what's going through my head. I don't, it might be in Korea, but I don't know. I think it's the capital of something, but I don't know if it's China or something else. And the fact that you're laughing so hard, I think tells me it's not China. Otherwise, you wouldn't be laughing like that.
All right, answer this question, and I'll tell you the answer to your question. Um, you have choices. The
Okay.
choices are Singapore, Taipei, Shanghai, Beijing.
Oh no. Oh no, those are all Chinese cities. Okay, that I know. Oh no. Beijing.
You're right. You're
Yes!
right.
Only
And
because of the Olympics. And I was thinking like if you were
and
gonna have the Olympics somewhere, it would probably be in the capital, right? Okay, so here's
I want
Ho
to
Chi
clarify two
Minh.
things. One, they were not all Chinese cities, and
Oh, oh no.
one of them was a country.
That is gold. That's actually hilarious. What?
and and two, Ho Chi Minh is in Vietnam.
Oh, so I wasn't Korea either.
It's not one. It's not Ho Chi Minh. It's Ho Chi Minh, and it was in Vietnam.
I'm sorry.
It's all
Oh,
right. You got the answer. You got the question right. There you go.
okay. So I'm about ready to even the score here because I don't think you're getting this one. Anna Wong was the first woman to obtain this achievement regarding stars. What was the achievement?
Regarding stars, Anna
Stars.
Wong.
Yep.
I don't think she was the first female astronaut. That I feel like that would be an American first. The first woman in space would probably be an American. I think Anna Fisher or something like that.
If
Um,
only you knew your women, and if you knew who Anna Wong was, this would be, even if you knew, yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm not.
and I don't think it would be a Nobel Prize. Maybe a Nobel Prize. Okay, I'll say she was the first woman to do something regarding stars
Yep, she the first woman to obtain this achievement. Yeah.
with a star. I'll say Nobel Prize, but I'm probably wrong.
Okay. Does it help you if I say the work she was involved in wasn't about stars, but the achievement was about stars?
That does help. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
What?
because
How would
Nobel
your?
Prize would be involving. So okay, achievement was about stars. Oh, okay.
I
just
thought you would get the first two, and the other two are like 50-50, so I had to give you a hard
just
one.
random women stuff. Adam's googling.
Dude,
I'm
if you
glad you
don't
did
know
it.
who Anna Wong is, you're effed up. Or maybe, uh, depending on your hobbies, you might not know who she is. I
One
guess.
star. It involves stars. She didn't discover. There's no way she discovered. I don't know who Anna Wong is, but it's not like she discovered a star. Oh, all right. I don't know.
You're too
Yeah.
focused on. She was the first woman with a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't watch movies with
Hey,
Anna
hey,
Wong?
hey. That's interesting. But I think you throwing me stars out there messed me up. I was thinking for a split second Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
okay.
I was, yeah. Okay, next question. Hit me.
Um, which one of these is a city name? Is the name of a
What? This
city?
isn't even about the game.
Neither are yours. Which one of these is
These are all
this?
about women.
At least mine is tangentially about the game. You'll
That's
see when we get to the
bullcrap.
last
Mine's
question.
celebrating 54% of the human population.
Adam, you are so grossly uneducated about geography. We don't have time to talk about the game. We gotta educate you up to the fifth
Okay,
grade level.
what's the name of a city? Okay.
Which one of these is the name of a city? Taiwan, Vietnam, Taipei, Myanmar.
I hate you.
he does. He doesn't know, and he doesn't know.
Don't. Okay.
He doesn't know.
Vietnam is definitely a country, right?
Okay. What
Because
about the other
there's
three?
Vietnamese. They wouldn't
What?
name that. You don't walk around and say they're Indianapolisan. They don't do that, right? So Vietnam is definitely a country.
I mean, they
And
say New Yorker.
you want but you don't walk around, you say I'm American. You don't go to French and say I'm a New Yorker. Anyhow,
They
I'm
say
saying,
Parisian.
what is that? Parisian?
Paris from Paris. Yeah.
I've never heard that. You made that up. Ignore it. Vietnam, I think, is a country.
Okay. Okay. You got three more to figure out.
Taipei, no effing idea. But you said Taipei earlier on what the capital of China is. So I'm thinking that
But I also put a country in there.
exactly. That's why I'm thinking like maybe you're doubling down on Taipei being a country and here you want the city. So I'm just taking a guess here. I'm gonna say Taipei is not a city. So, oh dang it, you're laughing. Oh no. Myanmar. That one really, I know people say, oh, I want to go to Myanmar. But does that mean the country or the city, right? Like you could say, I want to go to Hawaii, right? But that's like not a country, but it's a state. You don't say, oh, I want to go to Kona. Well, you can, but most people say, I want to go to
I,
Hawaii.
I love
So
all the logic you're having to apply because you just don't know.
no, man. I don't want to keep. I'm gonna say what was the other one? Myanmar, and what was the fourth one?
You got Taiwan, Taipei, and Myanmar.
Taiwan is Taiwan's a country, I think. So so I'm at Taipei or Myanmar is a city. I This is probably unfair, and I'm sorry, Alex. I think I'm going to change my answer to Taipei because of how you laughed when I said I thought it was a country. So I'm going Taipei is a city.
Taipei is the capital of Taiwan. There you go, Adam.
No
There you
way. I
go.
had no
Yeah.
idea. See, had you not laughed, and I feel dirty taking that
No,
as a
no, I'm
win.
laughing just in general. It wasn't laughing because you picked the wrong answer. Just laughing at the fact that you had to like you had to logically parse the answers. You had to go full ACT on this to figure out which one.
Yeah, I don't have an idea. Alex, multiple studies show that one of the girls is often plumper than the other. Which sweater puppy is bigger?
Oh, you're talking about breast. Which breast is typically bigger? So the heart is on the left-hand side, which means you probably have a little bit less room. So I'm going to say the right breast is typically bigger.
The left breast, according to studies, is plumper. I can't tell you why, but that's the studies. That's the studies. Well, I'll send them to you. I'll
I had
send
a
you the studies.
50-50. I had a 50-50 shot,
You did.
which is a better chance than you had as figuring out which one is a city and not a country.
Yeah. And why are they always Asian countries? Bring it over here to the US and I'll
No,
tell
because this
you.
is a game all about Asian diaspora.
Such
Um,
bullcrap. Okay, last question. Let's go.
all right. So you what when do you eat a bean? You got two right. I
I've
think
got two
two is
right.
still if you get one more, if you get this one right, I have to eat a bean.
Yep, correct.
Okay. Adam, I'm sorry. You should know the answer to this, but based off your last two questions, there's no way you're going to know the answer to this. But it is integral to the plot of 1000 Times Resist. Um, before Hong Kong came under Chinese rule, which country controlled Hong Kong prior to it being handed over in 1997, ending one of the longest running empires in human history? I've
It's
given you some big clues there.
do I did did you? It sounded like you just read a question. Do I get multiple choice?
No.
I didn't even know Hong Kong. I thought that was a city, first of all.
No, well,
So,
that's on
so,
you. That's not on me. That's on you.
so to know who owned it, I don't know. You said, first of all, I did no idea Taiwan. Well, I knew Taiwan was a country. They're small, though. I don't think they would own such a big city as Hong Kong. So,
Well, Hong Kong's not a city, but okay.
oh, frick. Okay, country. Even better. I feel like Japan is too obvious. Like, I could be wrong. I feel like Japan and China are always combatants. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like it. I don't
I
ever.
feel a bit bad, Adam. Adam, I feel like I threw you in the deep end a bit with this. I'm going to give you a hint.
It's not gonna help. Go ahead.
No, it should help. What language did Iris's parents speak? I mean, they spoke, Mandarin or
Mandarin.
can they spoke Mandarin, but they also spoke another language. I mean, you can understand it. What language was that?
That's what
No,
they said. I don't.
no.
That
When you
doesn't mean
played the
anything.
game, what language were they speaking fluently?
Mandarin.
They were speaking Mandarin fluently. That was the only language they spoke in the game.
Oh no. Well, I miss. No, they spoke English.
Why do you think they spoke English so well?
Well, now you're kind of cheating. England, I guess. Did England
What
own Hong Kong?
What
No,
is your answer? What
I
is
guess
your
it's going
answer,
to be
Adam?
England based on what you told me.
Well, Adam, you put me in a rough spot because England's not a country.
Mother, what? Oh, what? Europe? What do you want? Oh my. I got it wrong. We'll both eat a bean. You're already eating a bean off mine. I'm done with it. Okay.
The UK, the United Kingdom. England is a subset of the United Kingdom. It's like saying Tennessee instead of America. But anyways, um,
Europe doesn't even effing count. A woman's privates have an acidity most similar to what vegetable? A tomato, beet, onion, or bok choy?
tomato.
Oh, nailed it. No way. So we both answered two questions each right, which means we both eat one bean, right?
Yeah.
All right. Who is, oh, dang it. My big spinner's all the way over there. So I'm gonna have to use this little guy here.
Oh, I got my spinner. Yeah, I
Let me
can
get a
spin for
good,
you. You spin. Wait, who's spinning for who? Am I spinning for you?
I don't know. Let's decide. What do you want to do?
Oh, my spinner's out of date. My spinner's old gin. You got to
Well,
spin first.
so,
Wait, I got a new spinner. Hold on. Spin for
hey,
me, Adam, and I'll spin for you.
okay. Well, there it is. Here it goes. Dang it. Berry blue or toothpaste?
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
It's
Wish I
bull
would have gotten
crap.
some tomato, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Ruin my day, or do I need to ruin my own day?
No, I got my new box of beans here.
Okay. Man, we're using a lot of time here on non
Oh, old bandage or pomegranate.
dude, F you. Oh, I mean I haven't had it yet, but it's a
Here
little
comes
red.
my toothpaste. I don't have to brush my teeth tonight.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
That's toothpaste. That's toothpaste, but it's not bad. And it.
Dude, this is disgusting. That does not taste does not taste like a band. That I don't know what that tastes. It's bad. Oh, I have no gamer juice. I drank it all. Oh, dude. Oh, what did they eat to think that tastes like a bandage?
They probably ate a bandage. All
I've
right.
licked a Band-Aid before and it did not taste like that.
Why are
Oh,
you licking band-aids? All right,
that's
Adam,
disgusting.
let's get into some final questions here. What was your favorite part of the game?
Uh, uh, that's ugh. It's not barf, but it's not good. Screw you, Alex. You and your freaking geography. Screw Asia. My favorite part of the game, I think the on a broad sense, I do like how they unraveled the plot and I guess probably that's it, right? Like I like they drip fed you the plot where you, as I mentioned earlier, you could still follow it And it was an interesting way to unveil the plot. Every game unveils the plot and the story a little differently. I like the approach that they took. I think it was pretty novel. It was different. I've never played a game like that. You were right, as you mentioned in the last episode, the cinematography of the graphics and how they put you into their universe and world, I thought was very good. So kudos to them. That was my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, I think I said it last time. I pretty much agree. Like the pacing of the plot was really good, and for like a non-linear plot to be delivered in like such a pretty uh understandable way where you're not super confused the whole time is a pretty good. I think one of my favorite part of the game is the character development. Like there's not much said. There's not like tons of dialogue per character, but you still get a good sense of who each character is. I thought that was developed pretty well. The other thing I want to highlight is these people that made this game were not game developers, and this is their first game ever. And I think it was pretty damn good for being their first game ever. I mean, it shows in some spaces like the game's not very well optimized, but like pretty good, pretty good job for like your first time making a video game. I was pretty impressed. But yeah, the writing, I think the character writing was great. But like you said, the plot, the drip feed of information, keeping you interested in the story was really good. What was your least favorite part of the game, Adam?
I think for me, twofold and they go together essentially. As I mentioned in the last segment, the game once it started getting into chapter 6 and 7, I didn't have a rooting interest for these characters. I didn't really care. I didn't connect with them. Arguably, this is very subjective, right? Other people could have quite the opposite feeling, and this opinion doesn't matter. But for me, I I didn't care, right? When I played Near Automata, and the reason, the second part of the thing I didn't like is because I didn't care about the characters or the universe, it it didn't leave a lasting impression. So, for example, when I played Near Automata, it made me think. I got done with that game, and it's very much still a plot driven game, right? A lot of the Final Fantasies are too. A lot of the games I like are. When I finish those games, like it to some degree it changes me. Like after Near Automata, I actually viewed my view was different. It sounds weird to say, but it was. And they left lasting impressions on me. This did not whatsoever. And to be a game only about the plot and fail there, I think is a big shortcoming. Whereas at least if it had some gameplay or it had some elements that just created some fun, like maybe Astrobot, it doesn't need to stay with me because it already provided some of that temporary fun value. And so for a plot driven game, it was a little disappointment for there at the end and just the lasting impressions.
Yeah, I think it's funny that, we kind of have different overall opinions of the game, but I think we converge on that point that same for me that I looked forward to having a gaming hangover. That's what I call it, like Near Automata, right? You play Near Automata and you have the hangover with it. It's like, man, no, I don't want to play any other game, right? Like this game's messed with me. And I was looking forward to that with this game. I was like, finally, I'm playing another game that's going to mess with me. And although I was totally into the story, I was totally into the characters. By the end of the game, it felt like it really kind of buttoned up too well, and nothing left me feeling ultimately changed in any capacity. Right? Like it was a really good story. It was well told, but at the end, it was a really good story that was well told, and it didn't have any kind of transformative things going on. There was a little bit. I did appreciate the dad's character talking about what it means to be you know he was involved in the protests in Hong Kong, beaten violently by the anti-protest police, and his wife was the mom and his wife was like, why are we even doing this, right? What's the point? And he had some good points about like, we're doing it because history will show that we did it, and that's the important thing. And I think that is really the point that should have been hammered home in the plot. Like that should have been the resonating point at the end of the game. Instead, the resonating point at the end of the game was like, oh, there's a happy ending, and we can now walk around the world again, which I thought was a bit underwhelming. So Yeah, and then to your point, too many characters too fast. It's hard to hang your hat and hang your emotions on these characters when in the second half of the game they double the number of characters you're supposed to follow and care about, and it's really hard to follow and care about them, especially when they're all the exact same person. Um, Adam,
Yeah,
let's get into
I
the
think like also on that, and I feel like we'll probably have a small third segment. I don't want to rush through the stuff just to do it, but one of my elaborating on what you said, like Fixer. So in the first part of the game, Fixer ultimately was like I was rooting. I liked her, right? She figured out there was an issue. She was willing to put herself on the line and investigate. She was for the right things and she was a positive person. But then in the second half, she was like a jerk to Blue. So I know character development crap happened to her and maybe her personality changed, but it was hard for me. It was like a completely new character. So then it went from me having positive feelings to fix her to then she's different. She's a freaking jerk now. So I'm like, I don't effing care. I'm not rooting for her anymore. Let her die. I don't care. So that I don't know what maybe there was a reason I didn't fully understand why there, but another reason I didn't have anyone to root for. Watcher was dead. The original people were gone. I don't care about Zhao. Like there was no continuity, I feel like, throughout the entire game for me.
Yeah, I mean the reason Fixer was in a bad mood and she ultimately comes around in the end was because Watcher left her for dead, right? Like Watcher Watcher was her person. Like they were best of friends, and Watcher hung her out to dry, and so she didn't. She was broken after that.
Then
And
she should have
Blue,
killed herself.
but she had a job to do. But Blue was kind of a the next step of Watcher. Um, but no, I think you make a good point, right? We lose a protagonist halfway through the game, and so any emotional connection we have with a character in the game is then scrubbed, and we're having to outsource that emotional connection amongst seven different characters instead of the one character we've been playing as. And I know Blue's supposed to be our proxy, but because Blue came in halfway through the game, we're only so connected to her, right?
Yeah,
We're connected to Blue because she's like Watcher, but we know she's not Watcher. And I think that's a really good point, Adam. That you kind of stop caring, and you have to start caring about the whole. And it's really hard to care about the whole when there's so many reasons not to. Which maybe
exactly.
is the
It'd be
point of
like
the game, but
if
yeah,
you started a game and you played as a guy named Roxas, and you're like, "What the heck is this? I want to play as my man. I want to play as the main boy." And yeah, they have the and I have the argument on that too. Bad game design, bad plot twist, plot development, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's go. Next question.
Uh, did your opinion of the game improve or degrade throughout the second half?
I mean, I think you know my answer. It degraded. I cared up into chapter 4. I thought was pretty good. It was my favorite chapter. I was starting to be like, okay, I'm in, and then it just got worse and worse and worse, and then there was never something near the end that really shook me or shocked me. And you're right, there were a couple nice moments in there. The thing about her dad was, I guess, kind of tragic, but I guess I didn't like care that much. Yeah, so I personally would say degrade.
Yeah, you make some good points. You surprise me sometimes, Adam, that your points are really
Just don't ask me about cities and countries.
yeah. No, I mean, I think mine stayed on the level, right? It improved in some ways. Because one of the things I hate about like complicated plots is when a plot asks a lot of questions and then never answers them because they don't think they're important. This game asked a lot of questions and it ultimately answered all the questions you pretty much have. And I applaud it for that because there's a lot of stuff going on and it was all kind of like answered and resolved. But to your point, right? It really felt like a TV show that has an amazing first season, and then the second season is like you see why they have to do what they're doing, but it doesn't live up to the promise of the first season, right?
Squid Game.
Squid Game, right? Like they captured lightning in a bottle, and I see why they do it with this game, right? They can't drop a 4 hour game. Nobody's gonna buy a 4 hour game for $20. It's just 4 hours is not enough for a standalone game. And
We
so I see why
would.
they
Well,
probably had
okay,
to make a
yeah.
10 hour. Yeah. Um, but to me, it's like if they could have taken a lot of what happened at the end and put it closer to the middle and then left out a lot of stuff in the middle. And there's reasons why they did that second half. You're not wrong, right? I start to lose emotional interest. Cognitive interest is there, but emotional interest, I start to lose it in the second half of the game. So yeah, I think mine stayed about flat, albeit I really enjoyed it. But last question, Adam, would you play a 1001 times resist, 1000 resist times two? Would you play a sequel to this game?
I would not. Partially for the same reasons. If the first game didn't leave that lasting impression, I mean, what I'm looking for, especially in a plot driven game, although The Last of Us Part 1 isn't like the masterpiece everyone thinks it is, in my opinion, the ending, that ending pretty good.
That's a good ending, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for, especially in a plot-driven game. That has to have something like that. That's what I'm talking about. This did not have it. There's also, I mean, I guess there's still blue, or I guess it depends on the ending you choose, right? But there, I can't imagine them using a character that I'm connected with for me to follow in the second game. So why, right? It'd be like having The Last of Us 2 and it not be Ellie, it's someone else.
That's exactly what Last of Us 2 was, right? That's why people were mad. It was Abby.
Was it?
People were so mad in Last of Us Part 2 because halfway through the game you start playing as Abby instead of Ellie. Remember?
No. I have played it.
Yeah,
I
I
don't even
know.
remember
How
who
do you not
Abby
remember that?
is. Is Abby her gay lover?
No, Abby's the butch woman, the strong girl.
That's right. That is right. But that's halfway through.
It's halfway through, but people were really mad about that. That halfway
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
game,
yeah.
you're not playing as Ellie anymore.
Yeah, that is yeah, I totally forgot. You're right.
Yeah, and people were very mad about it. Same thing happened famously with Metal Gear Solid 2, where you play the first couple hours of Metal Gear Solid 2 as Snake, it's great, and then suddenly you're not Snake anymore. People got so mad about that. We got to play that game at some point.
That's interesting. And I want to get your answer to your question next segment. That'll be the first thing we cover. Has that been done successfully? Because we've already talked about Kingdom Hearts, Metal Solid, Last of Us, Thousand Times Resist, where they switch these protagonists, and in all
They did it in
cases,
Near Automata.
yeah, but that one, I don't think. Well, yeah, they did, but that one wasn't bad in my opinion. The
Yeah,
other
okay.
examples, everyone hated it. So why why do people do that? If the general consensus is that people hate it, why are they still using that as a plot device?
Yeah, it's a bait and switch for sure, right? I mean, it was a really bad bait and switch in Metal Gear Solid, although plot-wise, it makes a huge, there's a huge reason why they do it in Metal Gear Solid 2. Um,
But people
but
are still mad even after they see the reasoning.
I think now they're not. The issue is Metal Gear Solid 2, you play the demo of Metal Gear Solid 2 and you're playing as Snake the whole time. Then you buy the game and you play through the part that the demo had, and then once the demo ends, you're playing a new character. And it was just like,
Oh,
oh no, I wanted to be Snake. Anyways, Adam, I would play a sequel to this. I loved this game for all its warts.
of course
Let's
you
take
would.
this segment out. We'll come back and we'll finish up, talk about the ending a bit, and then we'll have a segment three.
Let's do it.
Welcome to segment three of 1000 xRESIST, part two for Gaming is in Session. Adam, I want to talk to you about the endings real quick. We're not going to be too long here, but the endings are important. So there are like 7 different endings in this game.
Did
Um,
it surprise you that there are multiple endings? Like, did you expect that as you were going through?
oh, that's a good question. I kind of did. Yeah, I think I read somewhere that there were multiple endings. You know,
See,
that is one thing in games that kind of bothers me when there's a bunch of different endings that like it just like I don't want to play through a game 7 times to see 7 endings. So anytime this normally happens, what I do is go on YouTube. However, this game kind of helps you out, right? The
Yeah.
moment where you choose the ending is like right before the ending, and if when you finish, it lets you say, "Hey, go back and see another ending." Fine, cool, whatever. Um,
Yeah,
but
they did that better than about anybody that I've seen. I agree. I hate the games where you have to replay the whole game. Like was it Detroit Become Human? Any of the oh man, I'm blanking.
I mean, Mass Effect did it too, yeah, and I love Mass Effect, but it did that too. That was really
what
annoying for
what's
me.
all the games where oh man, I can't believe there was a VR game based on it.
Until Dawn,
Yes,
yeah,
that whole studio, all of those games, like to see the different endings, you got to replay the whole freaking game. I mean, I guess you could load up, but there's so many variables.
yeah.
I hate that. And
Silent
also,
Hill,
it's not
that's it.
new anymore, right? So
That's an
why?
annoying part for me in Silent Hill too, right? Like you
Yeah,
have to do so many things. Like, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna watch YouTube. I'm not gonna play this game again just to see that different cutscene.
exact. I'm curious, how do you think these YouTubers get those endings? There's no way they replayed the game to get all the endings, right?
I think they probably do. They do it for the content, man.
Wow, that's a lot of freaking dedication. They earn those views. But the one thing I didn't like, I like that they put you in the last moment. And as a highlight for the listeners, you have these street lights with these different people that you go and you turn the light on. That, yes, you want to keep this component of society or your past, or you turn it off and you say, no, I don't want that. So I like that they put you back with every playthrough of the ending right there. But I don't like that there's a lot of lamps, right?
Yeah, there's a
And
lot.
there's
There's
a
like what, 8? Something like that.
maybe even more than that, something. And there's so many different combinations, and it's impossible to know which combinations give you a new ending unless you read up on it. So, and it's annoying walking up to the things, and then you have a dialogue box you have to run through, and like, I don't know.
And it kind of goes to our point of like too many characters, right? Like there were at least 3 people at Lamps that's like, I didn't know you were that important. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I never thought about you, you know? Like I
Yeah.
take you, leave you, I don't care. And apparently one of them was really important. Um, so I mean, I guess we can kind of go through it a bit. Like it's got your mom and dad, it's got the Red Soldiers, it's got the sisters, it's got the Knower, who is kind of like right in the middle of the line. It's got Principal, who was the original
Yep.
Watcher. It's got the Zhaos and stuff. Some of the people were like, "Why are you even asking me? Of course I'm going to keep them around." Like the Zhaos, right? Like, what person would be like, "No, kill all the Zhaos," right?
What did you do in your first playthrough?
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you, Adam. My first playthrough, I felt I felt a little bit like the game had taught me something, right? Like a little bit of me was like, I can see why each one of these people are valuable. Because when you do talk to the people, it kind of presents to you of like, this is why this is valuable, but this is also why this is harmful, right? Like even the
Uh-huh.
Red Soldiers, which seem obviously bad, it's like, listen, it's a hammer. And a hammer is bad when you don't have nails, but it's good when you do have nails that you need to hammer. So that's why you might want to keep the reds around. And so I thought, who am I to choose who stays and who goes? Let's keep them all, and we're going to figure this out without the occupants bothering us. So I picked everybody. What about you? What did you pick?
Complete opposite. I what granted some of this was my emotions taking over, but by this point of the game I was like, please just let it end. And I was like, F everybody. I hope they all die. They're all douchebags. I don't care about any of them. I don't understand why I still don't fully understand why Zhao is such a cornerstone. Like I understand she and Iris were friends. Iris wasn't nice to her. Like why what is so special about her that she's a cornerstone of everything, right?
Because
You tell
I
me,
think Zhao represents the person that everybody else has done something bad to you, it feels undeservedly. Zhao is the one person in the story that you've done something bad to undeservedly. And so it's, do you want to keep this person around? Do you want to keep this thing around in the memory of humanity of this horrible thing that you've done to somebody? Or do you want to try to forget that and
But
move
she
on
like
past it?
picked on her. It's not like she murdered her, right? She was just
She,
like
I think she
she was a
drove her,
jerk. Don't get me wrong, but like
I think she drove Zhao to suicide. All Zhao wanted was for Iris to be her friend, but Iris went around school and spread rumors about Zhao that were bad. That's what the whole first chapter, the ending is Zhao running
yeah.
away and dying.
I don't
Zhao,
remember her committing suicide, I
I don't
guess.
think they showed it explicitly, but I think the idea was that like Iris was so bad that Zhao died, um, in one way or another. So maybe she didn't commit suicide for it, but Iris was undeservedly horrible to Zhao, and all Zhao wanted was for Iris to be her friend.
I just like I think you're correct, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm as the player, I'm not buying it.
Okay,
I
okay.
guess, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
then it aggravated me to keep seeing Zhao. I'm like, why? Why is she everywhere? I don't care about her. So anyhow, so yeah, so I killed everybody off, and I was like,
Even the
F it.
mom and dad?
Yep, screw them. Don't care. Again, that was more of my. I didn't go at it initially like, what type of world do I want to create? I
Okay,
went
okay.
on it as, wow, I hate this game. F it. Killing everyone. And I knew, I was curious what would happen, right? Like, I knew that is definitely going to be an ending.
Yeah,
And so I got the scorched earth ending. It's just Blue sitting in the orchard and there's dead bodies everywhere.
interesting. Okay, yeah. So for
Yeah.
my ending, because I saved everybody, and I thought like that was the obvious good ending, right? Like you've learned that everybody's valuable. But no, right away you pick that ending. It's like, all right, and it even goes through each person, and the occupant is like, you picked this person, that's why you picked him, and this person still right away. The Red Army shoots you and kills you, and then the extra special Red Army person shows up and finishes a job. Like Red Army shoots you, incapacitates you, then another Mauve shows up and shoots you and kills you. And I thought, at first I was like, what the hell? And then I thought, wow, that's a pretty different take than most games would do, right? Because every other video game I've ever played, if you pick the pacifist role of like, hey, we can all be friends, let's all be good and make sure this works right for everybody, it rewards you for that. This is
Mhm.
the first video game I've played where one of the endings was like, listen, if you don't draw the line somewhere, you're gonna get screwed. And it's almost like the developer said, screw the Red Army. Screw these totalitarian a-holes. They do not deserve to exist, which is a pretty strong stance to take publicly, especially for like the demographic of people who made this game. So I was kind of taken aback. I was surprised. And in hindsight, I kind of applaud them for being like, hey, you can't just be like, let's all be friends about the situation because this is real stuff happening with people. So after that, I was like, okay, when this happens, it rewinds you back to that situation again. It says, are you going to change your mind? And I said, all right, well, no, we're not going to keep the Red Guard and we're not going to keep Mauve. And I eliminated those two and then went forward. What did you do after your ending?
So I did nobody, and then I did everybody, and then I did I don't
Okay, so
remember
you saw
what
the same ending I did. Yeah,
I
okay.
did, but I did it second, honestly, because I was lazy and I was like, I don't want to turn any of them off. So I just
Yeah, yeah.
immediately turned around. I knew it was going to be a completely different ending. So I was like, yeah, let me see another one. And then I did, I think one of the times I just randomly turned some off. There was no thinking about it. I was just like, let me turn some of them off. So I got three endings total. And then I watched YouTube or I read, I think, a wiki for the other endings.
Yeah. How do you, so to me, like the canonical ending, right, is you get rid of the Red Guard and you get rid of Mauve. And then you have, my ending was, I forget who I was. I was somebody that was visiting the orchard because apparently humanity left the orchard. I was visiting the orchard and going to the graveside of every single character that there was. And Principal is kind of my guide and telling me like what, what each person represents for humanity. Um, how did you feel about the idea that it seems like the developers thought that, hey, the Red Guard should be killed. They should be eliminated from society, and Mo should be eliminated from society. Does that conflict with you ideologically in any way? Like in a totalitarian regime, is it justified to eliminate the oppressors?
Dude, I don't think about this stuff that much. No,
I
no,
mean,
I did not.
that's the point of the game, right? That's the point they're trying to get across is that like, in Nazi Germany, right? The foot soldiers who they weren't Hitler, right? They were just taking orders. Should they be killed? Should they be hanged? They lose the fight. Should they be hanged? Should they be killed? How much are they culpable for the atrocities they commit?
I mean, I think one, I didn't think that much on it because, I don't. Two, I really was at the point where I was just like, please, this game needs to end. Like
Fair enough.
they
Fair enough.
they really lost me after chapter 4, and it's hard for me to stay engaged when I literally don't care about anyone in the plot anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that's unfortunately just where I landed. I mean, my personal opinion is like, I know it's not their fault, but sometimes life's unfair. They did the thing that, in a way, kind of, I guess maybe they
You
chose. You
you
could
reap
argue
what you
that
sow, right?
you could argue like maybe they couldn't leave Germany, and they didn't really have a choice. But yeah, you do it. I'm sorry, you're gonna get got, son. So
Yeah. I mean, a bit of this is probably because like the developers are mostly like contingent of people who are immigrants from Hong Kong. Since you don't know about Hong Kong too much, Adam, I'll let you know. They were living a relatively like free life under the UK. And then imagine if you where you live, you suddenly were living in America, and then one year they said, "Guess what? You're now living in China." And you have to abide by China's rules. That's what the mom and dad in the story were like fighting against, because China they have a pretty heavy-handed approach to government, and when they protested against it, they were beaten down with sticks. They were beaten down violently with that kind of behavior, and so I think that leads into why one of the quote unquote best ending is yeah, kill the Red Guard and kill the traitors because they're the ones who are keeping us from living our life. Um, what and so I think I missed it. What was your ultimate like final ending?
I mean, like I said, I got the Scorched Earth. I got the
Okay,
one that you got that was called, what was it?
the law, yeah, the law,
Okay. And then I think I got, her name is not Mauve. So I got those three.
yeah. Um, my ending was my ultimate ending after I saved everybody and then I killed the Red Guard and Mauve. It was they land, they fly, they go back up to land, and they just walk out on Earth and they repopulate the Earth, which is the happy ending, right? But my big question is like, how the hell are they going to repopulate the Earth? Like, are they going to just keep cloning themselves forever? It seems a bit weird to me. Like, I don't know, right?
Yes.
Because they lead on at the end of the story that like, hey, the cloning has started to fail, right? Like these machines aren't going to last forever. The clones that they're having are like dying before they're born. They're a bunch of stillborn clones, and so I don't know what the point necessarily was. The idea is that like humanity's going to live forever, but I kind of don't get it. But I guess nobody's being mean to them. Um, all right, I guess Adam, really ultimately, are you happy or upset that you had to play through this game?
Mm, I'm not gonna say I'm upset. I'm pretty indifferent. Like I said, I left the game. It didn't leave a lasting impression. I haven't thought about it after I've beaten it. It's pretty unoffensive in terms of like not, oh, I'm offended, but like you've made me play some pretty bad crap,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I hated Silent Hill 2. I Plucky Squire wasn't your fault. Helldivers 2, I don't know if I like hated, but I definitely didn't think
Sea
it
of
was as
Stars.
good
How
as
did you feel
you.
about Sea of Stars?
Sea of Stars again was like not uber great. I would put that probably over this, but not by like a whole lot. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know if you made us play that. What were the other games? Anyhow,
That
so
was it, yeah.
pretty like unoffensive. I was okay with it. I'm not upset that we played it, but it really didn't do much for me. And so I can't say I'm happy I played it, but I'm not angry that I played it too. I think also, 10 hours, come on, that's not that bad, right? Like
Yeah.
if you had me play 60 hours of it, which is one reason why I'm like a little, whenever eventually play a Final Fantasy game, right, I'm a little worried because you're in it for the effing long haul, right? So, anyhow, yeah, I'm assuming you're still happy that you played it, though.
I mean, I'm happy that you played it. I appreciate that you played the second half when I wanted to play the second half. I really enjoyed the game. I think it was it was a very unique storytelling example or specimen or experiment for video games in general. Um, I enjoyed the plot, all sorts of stuff. I think there's some warts that you kind of highlighted and you and I discussed a bit. So I don't think it's like an amazing, perfect game or a must play or anything like that. But I ultimately think that just like, it I think ultimately like I wish there was more on like the mom and dad dynamic because they are really interesting to me. And then all the other characters in the second half kind of aren't quite as interesting as that dynamic between the mom and the dad and what's going on. Um,
Look,
but
it's because you're a father. No, no, that sucked. I don't care, right? I I don't care. I'm sorry. Don't care.
all right. No, I get it. I get it.
I would have
But
liked to have
yeah,
seen a night. I mean, I guess in a way you could argue that Knower had like a resolution arc, she helped create the ending that gave Blue the opportunity to choose what the future will look like. But I
oh
would have
yeah,
liked to have seen a better resolution arc for Knower. Like she comes back and she's the more of like she takes more of the action of creating the future rather than she dies off and yeah, she gives Blue, this person I don't effing care about at all, the
yeah.
opportunity to create the future.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, right? The introduction of Blue, which I get why they did it, but it's like I'm already invested in somebody else, right? Like I don't want another person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
that's kind of our reoccurring theme of our critique of the game. But all right. Well, thank you, Adam. Adam, at least thank you for playing through the game and talking about it with me. I enjoy this because I feel like I learn a lot about the game and myself when talking about these games with you. But Adam, what's the next game we're going to be playing?
That's it. I chose Sniper Elite Resistance. Never played this game before. I wanted something with action after playing this game, obviously, with no gameplay. I think it'll be very interesting because, like, yes, I've played shooters like Helldivers, but not a game that focuses on the technical aspects of shooting. Definitely not sniping. And so I didn't know what to expect going into this game. So I think it's going to be a fun one. I hope it's fun. It's got a single player campaign. It's got multiplayer. It's got cross play. It's a game we can play together. So I think there's potential to have fun even if the game is a stinker. But I have no idea. It might be a huge mistake. But there's only one way to find out, baby. 20% of the game. So let's do it.
Yeah. I played not Sniper Elite, but I played their Zombie Army trilogy, which is the same developers, but it's like a zombie horde mode version of the game. So looking forward to playing this and seeing what's happening there. And I'm also looking forward to sniping you, Adam. But with
You
that,
wish. You wish. Next week, folks, we are going to cover Sniper Elite Resistance and see. We're going to play 20% of the single player campaign and then some of the multiplayer, and then we'll decide if we want to continue playing. But until then, stop resisting your urge to share this podcast. Go to your auntie, go to your mama, go to your first cousin's hot girlfriend, go to the closest gym girl you have near you. Tell them about this podcast. Like and subscribe. Gaming is on session. We're on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. We're obviously Spotify. We're on YouTube. Share these, gaming in the session. We've got the podcast on the YouTube. We've got random video game content, random shorts. We've got freaking Pokemon cards. We got a little something. Every week, we have people commenting on me cleaning my Move controller balls with my mouth. Send us a message there. Send it at contact at Play PSVR. We want to hear from you. If you have a game recommendation, let us know. We'll play it. We'll play it with you. We'll let you, well, we don't even care. It could suck. Can't do worse than Alex's picks. So, Sniper Elite Resistance, if you want to play with us, do that. We're going to cover it next week. And as always, if you don't like our opinions, there's only one thing you can do.
You can tell it to the judges.